Welcome to the Carbcast podcast. I am Oli, and I'm here with my father,
Emilio Carvajal.
Emilio Carvajal. All right, and today we are talking about movies. I feel like this
I always
one.
say my last name.
You said that last time. You're just.
I need to stop.
It's consistent. It's a consistent intro, man.
Well, consistently, I ask the same question too.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, so
Anyway,
I'm surprised it actually took us, 6 or 7 episodes to actually, get to movies. I thought it would probably be relatively
oh really?
early on. I mean, it's still early, but it did take us 6 episodes, I think, to get to them.
Well, I was sitting here trying to think of, well, obviously favorite movies, but
Yeah,
man, that's so many movies.
I know. I started
I was,
writing mine down, and then I was like,
yeah.
I feel like there's way more movies that I enjoy, but I can't think of them. And then even then, I still have one, two, three, four, five, six different movies I have written down.
Well, so I started writing them down, and well, movies that I remember growing up with.
Hmm.
Well, not growing up with. Movies that I liked that I couldn't watch when I was a kid. Once I was somewhat an adult, I started watching. It was war movies,
Hmm.
other than like John Wayne and like stuff they had on TV, which still is probably at the top of the list. But it was always war movies though. So then I was thinking, okay, war movies, and that does not narrow it down at all.
Nope.
At all. That actually probably makes it worse.
It probably makes it worse. There's so many,
Well,
and we're addicted to so many of them.
yeah. Oh, I can't even believe I don't have the one.
The one? Like you mean like your favorite movie of all time?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I don't know mine either, if I'm gonna be honest. I just so I default to Step Brothers because I love the Step Brothers and I've seen it so many times, and I can still enjoy it.
See, I didn't see. I wouldn't even. I didn't even like. I didn't even touch any of that. That's a whole. Like I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
It's a whole
exactly.
other. What is that? Like category or whatever.
It's comedy. It's a whole different genre.
No, I know, but like yeah, genre. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just kept it to war movies, but yeah, absolutely. Step Brothers is. There's so many parts in that.
yeah. It's definitely very good. I default to Step Brothers because I've seen it so many times, but I don't think I can choose a favorite movie because there's so many where I'm like, man, I love that movie so much. I could watch it 100 times, and then I remember another movie and I say the exact same thing about that movie.
Yeah. Man, Step Brothers though. That's well, and I don't even know if you can go with just Step Brothers.
Yeah,
Like,
I also wrote Talladega Nights.
oh yeah, dear God, yes.
Dear God, yes.
Uh, yeah, like all these scenes are just flashing through my head
Exactly,
right now.
exactly. I was actually at
Like,
work.
trying to
I was
trying
at
to take
work.
a steak knife out with another steak knife.
Yeah, he's like, I can walk. I can feel my leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at work and we were. It was very, very dead. We didn't have much to do, and like everybody had like split up, and there was this big room in the middle, and I like start like stretching, and I'm like, man, there's so much room for activities, and like three people around me just start dying of laughter,
Yep.
and one goes back and forth with me quoting it, and it was great.
I
Uh,
think I think that's the best part, especially Step Brothers, because there's
mhm.
just so much in that one, and it doesn't matter who's around me. Like you say that, like you said right there, like so much
Someone's
room
gonna
for
know.
activity, and then people are just like quote after quote.
Yep.
We're using power tools? No. What do you say? I'm brushing my
Yeah,
teeth.
I think he said he was brushing his teeth.
We're done anyway.
Oh well, we're done anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah,
Uh,
those are fantastic movies. I don't think there's any movie that I can quote as much as those two movies. So that's how you know I really like them. So
yeah. Will Ferrell and
oh, I knew his name. I
the
think
other
I
guy,
just said it the other day too, and I
the
don't
curly
remember.
haired fuck.
Curly. Oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah. It's gonna bother me that I don't know his name now, but
uh, why are you sweating?
oh,
Yep.
this episode. It's just gonna be us laughing for 30 minutes straight, and,
Oh,
and we're not even watching the movie.
no.
Oh god.
Oh, yeah. Oh, now I'm just going to start thinking of random.
Yeah, it's not gonna be movies
One of my
anymore. It's just gonna be
favorite.
movie quotes.
Yeah. Well, I can't even say one of my favorite scenes, but like one of, I don't know. I guess maybe one of my favorite scenes out of is when they're his brother was trying to sell the house,
Yeah.
and they did all those things trying to
Yeah, he's like,
keep
do you need
people
any
from buying.
fertilizer? I got like 80 tons of it. Uh,
Oh yeah.
oh, John C. Riley. That's his name. I knew that. Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah, John C. Riley.
It's not a Jewish name.
That's not a Jewish. Oh my god.
Oh, just a career.
Man, he's pretty old. 58. Anyway, okay, so now we got our comedy movies out of the way. So, what are
Oh
some of
well,
your
I mean,
favorite? Well, I want to touch on favorites before we start just going off.
okay. I was gonna say, do you watch any of the Austin Powers?
Yeah, I've seen I think all of them.
I don't know if there's as good as Will Ferrell and his.
There's some pretty funny moments, but there's only like two or three moments that I can remember off the top of my head out of like what, like the four movies or whatever, four or five movies.
Yeah, the only one that comes to mind is when I try to back up
Yeah.
Dusty's truck. Park
he's in
it.
the he's in the little hallway.
Yes,
Yeah, I
that's the
remember.
only thing that ever really pops up. Favorite movies?
So mine, so I actually wrote, I think, like another one. So we watched it recently,
Okay.
uh, but it, I'm gonna say this because we watched Riddick, Pitch Black recently, and I always remember that being one of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite movies as a kid. And then as we watch it, I'm like, hey, this movie's not as good as I remember it being. But it was very cool. It
Yeah.
was cool, but it
For the
wasn't a
time,
great
it was
movie.
way different.
Yeah, it wasn't a
Well, I
fantastic
mean, not
movie,
way
but it was just cool
different.
visuals
Yeah.
and cool concept. Cool concept.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, oh, maybe it was because of the eyes.
Yeah,
You know, they. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, it was cool
What's his
concept,
name?
but it's not Riddick or
Yeah.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. Yeah. Um.
Which,
Anyway. Oh, go ahead.
for me, bringing up him, one of I don't know if it really goes into my favorite. It probably kind of does, but like that was right when I was in high school. Um, I went with a buddy of mine, and I didn't get in trouble, but he did.
Yeah.
And parents came and got him out. Well, they were my ride, so we had to leave early. At the theater because we found out what movie we were watching,
Yeah.
which it wasn't even that bad. But
It's not even that bad
it,
compared to some of the
but
stuff
back
you
then,
could have
everything
watched.
were yeah. I don't remember if they took me or not. I feel like I watched the whole thing.
They just left
I
you
don't know.
there.
It was so different back then. Like everything was there was really like the beginning, not the beginning, but like kind of the first movie that kind of came out with that hot rod outlaw, fast cars, but badass, you know.
Oh, you're talking about Fast
Not
and
that.
Furious?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I never did see what it was.
yeah, no, you didn't. And I was like, what? That wasn't in Pitch Black. What are you talking about? Okay,
Yeah,
Fast and Furious.
yeah. Fast and Furious.
Yeah, and it's still, I mean, there's nothing like, honestly, there's nothing like the first two or three Fast and Furious movies because even Fast and Furious doesn't do it right anymore. So it's
Fast X now. What is that? 11?
I don't, that's 10, but
No. Whoa.
X is 10.
Oh, is it 10?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't pay attention. I just felt like there was 100 of them already.
there is, basically. Yeah, you can't get,
It's
I mean, you
crazy
could
to
probably
me
do it
that
again.
I mean I remember that movie coming out, and like the second one was all right.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. It's done. Hell no. That's almost like 20 years later.
It is.
It's
It
still
pretty much
going.
is.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, and I haven't even seen. I think the last one I watched was the fifth one, and that's
I'll
still
sit
too
down and
much.
watch them. I'm not against watching them, but
I'd rather not, just because they're
the first
odd.
one is definitely the best.
Yeah, now they're just basically action movies, and if you compare it to action movies, they're not very good.
Mm,
So you can't compare them to car movies, and you can't compare them to action movies because either way, it doesn't come out very good.
no, no, they don't. They just take, yeah, yep. So, did you say what your favorite movie was?
I said one of them. I was gonna go through a bunch of them, but
Oh, Riddick.
so I'll just
Go.
I'll
I'll
just
stop
go with.
talking.
I'd say my favorite. I'll top it off. My favorite movie, other than like Step Brothers, because it's a comedy, and you can watch it 100 million times, and nobody's gonna bat an eye at you. But then when you watch like an action movie, a whole bunch, people are like, okay, well, that's
Yeah,
an action movie. It's not like
that's
you know what's
big.
happening. Yeah, it's like, um, but Fury, I love Fury so much. It is
I know.
an amazing movie, and I was gonna watch it today, but then my
Well, that's fun.
girlfriend told me that Extraction 2, or she reminded me that Extraction 2 was out, and that's what I watched instead.
So that's funny because I put Extraction 2 on. Well, I've been wanting to watch Fury,
Hmm.
and honestly, I don't like. I have to say it definitely is one of my like at the top of the list, if not the top, because
Yeah,
I mean, watching it with you and um, I did. It does have a good story. It's awesome action.
some very good
Uh,
visuals.
yeah, um, I have been wanting to watch it, but I either have to pay for it anyway. That it's not free,
Yeah, I have it on
so I haven't
disc,
watched
so
it.
I can just pop it in
Oh,
whenever.
see, I don't have anything that plays disc.
I've used my PlayStation.
I don't even have one of those. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was like, you do have one in your house.
Anyway, so last night I watched Extraction 2.
Hmm.
I thought I watched the whole thing, but apparently I didn't.
No, it's like 2 hours long. You're like a little over two
Um,
hours.
but Darcy wanted, she put it on, because usually we, like, I'll make dinner or we make dinner and
Hmm.
sit down and watch a movie while we eat dinner. She put it on today. I was like, hell yeah, let's watch it again. And yeah, I fell asleep at one point yesterday.
So you're like,
Well,
oh, this is all new.
yeah, that's a new movie. So it's pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, I'd say it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I don't think it was as good as the first one though, but it was pretty good.
The armor's like,
They do some really
I
good
don't know.
stuff with the movie because they think about things that you wouldn't, or that a lot of past action movies haven't thought of, like the body armor and that kind of stuff. And
So
resorting to different fire. And there's a lot of stuff that I was pointing out in it, and I was like, oh well, he did this for this reason, and just the fact that I saw that means that he, like the director, thought of that and put it into the movie, which most people don't. So like, I
yeah,
really, really, really respect Extraction 1 and 2, and they're some fantastic movies.
they're
But
both.
I think the first one's better.
Yeah,
But they're
yeah.
yeah, the director is
Well, and
incredibly
how they
smart.
ended the first one, like you're like, oh, that's it. There's not another one.
Yeah,
The second one, they're like, oh, there's another one.
yeah. Which I like the idea of the hero dying, but at the same time,
Yeah.
like that was such a good movie and good potential that they could have pulled it off if he didn't die, which they did. But like they could have just had him not die at the end and then made a second
No, I
movie.
I think you're right. Like having the hero die at the end, it really kind of.
It's not.
But I
It's
mean,
pretty
money
neat.
wise, I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Money
they,
wise,
they. I wonder if it was even like, hey, there's gonna be a second and third and 12th, um, or it was like this is the only one we're making, and then it just did really good in the box office, and they're like, oh,
yeah. Then they're like,
so make
that's probably
another one.
exactly what happened. Is they were like, oh, this movie's gonna do well, but it's gonna do it just as well as every other action movie, and then it does like way better. And they're like, oh God, we gotta get our money. We gotta get our money. Hurry up, pump
Let's
out a
make
new
10
one.
of them like Fast and
Yeah,
Furious.
exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Which I hope they don't. Oh, speaking of that,
Hmm.
not well. I don't know why that even completely on a different show.
Okay.
Jack Ryan.
Yeah, you like that movie,
I don't
that
know
show.
why that even reminded me of
Well,
it,
it's the
but
same. I mean, it's not the same, but it's the same. Like special ops kind of stuff. So
this
it
final
has remind me.
season coming up here
Huh?
in 4 days.
I thought it was finished
No.
because I thought I watched the ending at your house, and I was like, oh yeah, that seems like the end.
Oh,
Interesting. Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
well, I don't know. It popped up on my thing, and I was like, what?
Oh
Another
yeah.
one?
Yeah, that's
Oh
exactly
yeah.
what
I
happened with
think
Extraction,
they're
though.
good.
They were just like, hey, here's a
They
trailer for
did.
Extraction 2. And I was like, what?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if the first one hit theaters.
For
I
Extraction?
think it did. Yeah.
No, it's Netflix exclusive.
Oh. See, that
Yeah.
confuses me. I always think it's supposed to hit theaters. And I'm like, what? Why did it pop up so quick?
It's a different age, different age.
You know, for the quality they do and the amount of stuff they put out, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, Netflix had this run where they pumped out these good movies, right? And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this is so good." And then they'd pump out a whole ton more and kind of flood the market, and then everybody just keeps watching them because they're like, "Oh, Netflix movies, they must be good." And they're not good.
Garbage.
Yeah, so then they have all this money that keeps just flowing in, and eventually every once in a while they drop like a really really good one, such as Extraction. That's
Have
just how
you?
Netflix
Yeah.
works.
So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. I liked it. The only thing I didn't like is the armor,
Why not? It's
which,
very good.
can you imagine taking that many rounds point blank
Well,
and still
yeah.
fight?
Well, it's life or death. If you don't fight, then you're dead. So I'd
Look,
much rather
I,
attempt to
you know,
fight.
I don't think, I don't know. You have to be,
Oh yeah, it'll knock the
even
wind
with
out of you,
armor, it's
but
going to fuck you up. Like, there's no way you can just keep fighting. I don't think there's a way you can keep fighting. It's going to, like, knock the wind out of you and break
just
some ribs. Like, you're
yeah,
not going to keep fighting like that.
you definitely can. I've seen videos of people getting shot in armor and still rocking fine.
Well, and
Like they're
here's
like,
the other
oh,
part of that.
and
Like,
then they
if
get
you're
back
that
to it.
close, like, shoot him in the knee, like John Wick,
Well, that's what they do.
what, twice, and then shoot him in the head. I mean,
Well,
why do you keep shooting in the body? Which, here's the other thing. Like, I don't know if it's two different levels of armor. I'm assuming it is, because, like, the shoulder pads
well, I mean, if
and
you
the
really
helmet.
if you really paid attention to it, it was basically like, I mean, he should have known, but at the same time, he's trying to fight him off. So like a round or two to stun him out because you know the armor's gonna hit. Round or two, stun him, then you can focus on another guy. That was the whole kind of concept of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I'm trying to. Obviously, he's trying to kill him, but it's not like, oh, I'm gonna shoot him here because it'll kill him. It's like a boom, boom, stun him, fight the other
Yeah.
guy, boom, and they do that, and it's very nice. And
There's
another
one of
thing,
them.
he gets into an engagement and he hits the armor, and then he's like, oh crap, yeah, that doesn't work. But in reality,
Well,
he's an operator. He should have known that based on his
yeah.
crazy status. But that's still the concept is stunning rather than trying to go for the kill shot.
So one of the things, and that's why I was saying something. Maybe they're wearing a different level of armor. Um, um, like they were taking hits, and then the brother and sister took hits, and they like instantly went down.
Brother, oh
And
yeah, yeah.
I was assuming they're wearing body armor too,
hmm
just not as high quality, or
Yeah, I noticed that too. So just
because the brother took like 2 shots to the stomach area, and he was down.
mhm.
Um, well, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just to give people some insight, this is the second one he's talking about, not the first one.
Hmm.
Um, but from what I noticed is they got hit quite a few times, and the movie took action of that and said not every single bullet is going to hit in the armor every single time. So like you said, he gets shot in the stomach. I think the sister gets shot in the stomach as well, and when he turns around, he gets shot in the back. Which
Hmm.
this could be like
This has
a
been stopped.
yeah, this could be like a he's dumb and didn't put a plate in the back because
Yep.
I mean that
That's what I was saying. I
maybe
wonder
that
if like
happens.
they were wearing two different kind of levels of armor.
Uh,
Like the
I
bad
don't
guys
think
were
so.
wearing, because that the stuff they had was pretty thick. Like
I think it's just
they took multiple shots to the stomach and chest area, and kept fighting. And these two took like 2 rounds, and they were done
I think it's more of just a what happens
for the story.
happens. Like yeah, for the story or make it a harder opponent or. I think it's because you're not, like I said, you're not going to hit in the exact same spot every single time when you're in fights like they are. So it could just be that they got unlucky and got hit, and the bad guys didn't really. But in the end of the
Yeah.
day, all the bad guys died. So one way or the other. Yeah,
Uh,
the movie is really good in terms of acknowledging things that a lot of other movies don't. Like in the second one, they do a lot of car fighting, but then they, because most movies would be like, oh yeah, cars they block bullets, but in this one they kind of thought about it and put in armored vehicles, and
I
you can tell
noticed
their
there was a
armor.
couple scenes where, like, even though they had armored like glass or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and or bulletproof glass, and like it take multiple hits, and then like one round would make it through,
Yeah,
which is pretty like, yeah, that's what's
yeah,
gonna happen.
yeah. That's what I really respect
Fail at
about the
some
director
point.
of this. Like the team and the director just have a really good understanding of how this stuff works. Even if they have to alter it a little bit for movie magic, they still have a good understanding of how this stuff works and how things would react, unlike other action movies. And I do like seeing that,
Well,
like the good guys, they do get hurt. Like a lot of the old
yeah,
school movies, they just never got hurt. So I like seeing that they're taking shots, they're taking damage. You can see the damage increase throughout the movie. They're not just like invincible, and I like that.
would you say John Wick is like that?
Oh yeah, John Wick is invincible. He definitely has that plot armor. We were talking about it while watching it, and I was like, I don't think John Wick has ever been shot. But then again, I've only seen 2 movies, so I was like, I don't think
He's in, huh?
he's
No,
been
yeah, because he
shot,
goes to the
but he takes the
doctor a
armor.
bit.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
No, and then I don't know if that's the first or the
I
second
think it's
one.
the first one.
Well, I think it's the second
Oh,
one.
maybe.
So it's the first one. He's like dying, like the last scene. He's dying, and because he wrecks the Suburban or
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
into the
yeah.
building. And then the second one picks up from there.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that's where he goes to the vet, but
I don't know. I forgot about
he's
that,
like bleeding out and watching.
but John Wick does not have that essence around him that he's kind of invincible.
Oh yeah, he
Because, like I
is.
said, throughout the whole movie in Extraction, they take the damage, and you can see them taking it. But for John Wick, it's like he's invincible, and then he takes one bit of damage, and then, there it is.
I like that scene where what's her name? Nikki or Nick.
Mm-hmm.
She's fighting that guy, and they fell onto the glass
Yeah,
roof, and the guy she's fighting and her get knocked out basically,
yeah,
and they're like sliding down the glass. I'm like, oh, that's kind of crazy. Like you don't usually see that. You think they kind of snap out of it once they hit it
yeah.
wasn't
They were
that big of a
knocked out for
fall.
a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I really really respect it because the director and the team just really think things through when it comes to those movies. Um, like at one point in the movie, um, there's like they're in a prison and there's a bunch of they walk into this room and there's a bunch of the prisoners there and he has his rifle out and he's pointing it around and eventually he gets in a tussle with them and then he pulls out his pistol and like just drops the AR because it's on a sling so it just stays on him. But he pulls out the pistol and uses
It's too
that to
long.
fight instead. And I'm like, well, that is like really good thinking in terms of the movie because other movies you might just keep the AR out and rock it right and keep fighting with it or whatever. But the pistol makes sense
Well,
because there's
and
so many people. They're going to be fighting for your gun. And with a longer gun, they're going to be able to grab it easier. But if you pull a pistol out, you can keep it closer to yourself and have more control on it. So
yep,
just in that environment, it was a better idea to use the pistol instead, and they thought about that.
yeah, yeah, I did see that. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. This is that. That's the
Like,
kind of thing I was talking about.
he
It's
wasn't
nice.
trying to shoot anybody
Now
when he
he
had the
wasn't.
AR out.
Yeah,
Uh, but they kept reaching for it and grabbing it, and so he dropped it. Not dropped it, but
yeah. It's on the
uh,
sling, but he drops it. Just
switched to his pistol, and then he ended up having to use that. But he still tried to fight him off without shooting him.
yeah. And like I said, that pistol. The whole reason for
So
the pistol is just keeping
that's
control of it instead of having this long gun out.
that's the end of the story. So you guys, we just ruined it for you.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's fine. It's fine. If you haven't watched it by now, then it's your fault because
You should go watch it.
yeah, it's it's number one
It is a really
trending
good
on
movie.
Netflix right now. So I assume a lot of
Honestly,
people
I
have seen
could
it.
probably go back right now and watch it again. If
Probably,
not tomorrow.
I'd probably watch Extraction, the first one first, and then Extraction 2.
I
Yeah,
That's one thing. I was gonna ask you this too. Like, I know we've seen Fury
yeah,
about 1,000 times. I personally, I can watch those kind of movies. I could probably almost watch them every week, or I mean, I can tell you there's a list of movies that I can still watch over and over and over again.
hmm
Can you do that?
yeah. I feel like I kind of feel like you knew that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
they
don't.
don't.
I was in a. At one point, I was in like a movie, kind of like months and stuff like that. A movie kind of kick, and I was learning a lot about movies and filmmaking, and I was watching movies back to back to back to back. Like I'd watch Fury, and then at the end of the week, I'd watch it again, or I'd watch Deadpool, and then watch Deadpool again 2 days
Oh,
later.
Deadpool.
Yeah, I love Deadpool, but I do get into those kicks where I watch movies. But recently, you know, now that I'm working my first full time job, and that takes up a majority of my day, And then the rest of
You're
it,
being an adult.
yeah, exactly, being an adult. And then the rest of the day, I'm like, oh, I'd like to watch a movie now, but then I get distracted and play video games instead. So,
Oh,
because I'm playing
back to the
video
kid.
games, I don't have time to watch the movie, and then if I did the opposite, So, I haven't watched movies in a while. This is probably the first one I've seen in probably a month, maybe longer.
Oh, really?
Other than, like, actually, yeah, I can't remember the last one I watched before this. It might have been, like, at your house at some point.
Oh, I can't
So, it's
remember what
been
we
a while.
watched.
It's been a while.
Did you see Avatar's out?
Like on disc and streaming services or whatever?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on. Is it Disney?
I don't know. If it's on Disney, I'm not
Anyway,
gonna watch it.
the one that the Avatar that we went and watched, the
Yeah,
newest one.
in the movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a cool movie. I think it. There was
yeah.
a few parts.
I like the first one.
The first one was amazing. Like
Yeah.
seriously, like a
This one looks
masterpiece.
animated.
Well, they're both animated, obviously, but
I was gonna say actually, yeah, they're both completely animated,
yeah,
but
pretty much.
I don't know. This one just didn't.
There was a few parts in it that I felt like were not necessary or that they didn't do very well, and it just kind of like I feel like there's parts in there that were just added in there to make the movie longer because like
Uh,
that was kind of like, oh, my movie is really long and really animated, and that's what's crazy about it, right? So he tried to do it again.
retarded long.
Yeah.
Although, like, even though I say any of that, like, there's some stuff I don't really care too much. I'll sit down and watch it again,
Yeah.
or watch it right now. I
I'll
don't care.
watch it right now.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
watching. Like, if I find a movie that like interests me
Mhm.
at all, I'll watch it over and over again.
Yep. Oh, you
Like,
know what? I just remembered. I actually did watch a movie recently before Extraction. And it was one of those moments where I was like, well, I could play video games, but instead, I'm going to watch a movie. And I watched Enemy at the Gates. Have you ever seen that?
oh,
The Russian
with
sniper one?
Crooked Nose.
Oh, Crooked Nose? Oh, when
Oh
the
no,
guy
wait a
that has
minute.
this.
No, wait a minute. That's Behind Enemy Lines. No, I know which one you're talking about. The sniper movie.
Yeah, the Russian sniper movie.
Yes,
With
that's a good
Vasily.
movie.
Yeah, it was.
So I went to
Really good.
I think actually the last time I ever went to the theater, and I'm not even sure why. Me and Dad, we just, I was still, I don't know what year that came out, but
I have no idea.
I was still probably I had to been in high school still.
Okay.
Dad took me to go watch it, and yeah, that's a good movie. I love it. Love that movie.
Yeah, it's not the
Good
first time I've
plot.
seen it either. So once again, I'm watching a movie for probably like the third time or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really.
2001. So it came out the year I was born.
Yes.
I feel like that movie
Oh,
looks a
weird.
little older than 2001 though.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
March 16th, 2001.
Huh.
Crazy.
You were
Anyway, yeah,
born in
that is a.
October, so you were already.
I was born in November,
Oh, that's what I meant.
so I was not born yet. God,
No,
this
I know,
guy.
but March.
March, April, May, June, July, August, or yeah. July,
Oh yeah,
August,
you
September,
were around.
November. 8 months away.
That might have been. That might have been the last.
The last
Father,
movie you
son.
watched before me, before
They
you had
might
a
have
child.
known you. They might have known you were assistant already. That's funny.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, no, that was a great movie.
Oh yeah. That whole. Even the ending.
Yeah, I didn't get to the ending this most recent time I watched it, but I have seen the ending before. But it's very cool.
Got a little twist to it.
It's on
Like,
YouTube for
no.
free if you want it, or if you want to watch it.
Huh?
It's on YouTube for free if you want to watch it.
Oh, with ads or what?
Yeah, it said with ads, but I didn't get any ads on mine. I think I just got lucky.
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, that's. I think
Yeah, that
that's
was
why I
definitely.
watched it because it was on YouTube, and I was like, oh, look at that.
I always forget to look on there because I'm okay with, and I think like you're saying, sometimes the ads aren't too bad on there.
Mm-hmm.
If they pop up every once, like maybe twice or three times during the movie, I'll
Yeah,
watch it.
I'm
I
watching
don't
it.
care. Yeah, especially for free.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to think of a movie like that. That one was really good. I like just the different sniper scenes.
Yeah,
Kind of make you think too.
yeah. It was. It was. Oh, hold on. Excuse me.
Was that?
Oh, I was gonna
That was
sneeze, but it
World
didn't
War
happen.
Two.
Yeah, it was. It was World War II.
But that they were
What?
what
Russian?
were they? Were they Russian?
Yeah, they were Russian. I'm pretty sure I already said that twice, so shows who's paying
Oh,
attention, right?
sorry. No, nope, not
Yeah,
me.
they were Russian. If I feel like if they made that movie again, they probably should have dove more into the Russian kind of thing, because a lot of Russian snipers were actually women. Like, don't get me wrong, there's men.
Really?
Yeah, but a majority of them were women, or at least a good chunk
Huh.
of them. Um, at one certain point, I can't remember. I think it was just like they were like, "Hey, you know what? Like, women can fight too, so we need women, or
Probably
we
like
need more
women are better
bodies."
shots than men.
No, I can't remember. I remember I watched a video on it. I, I can't remember for the life of me, but it was something along the lines of like, we need more people. Let's bring in women to help us do the job, unlike all the other countries. And there was actually quite a few very popular women snipers in the Russian military or in Russian fighters in general.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the Russian
I
conflict
just
was
watched
wild.
um I think it's called The Monument Men.
The Monument Men. It sounds familiar, but I
Yeah.
don't. I'm gonna have to look it up again. Let's look it up.
Uh so they're tasked with saving art that the Germans were stealing
Monuments.
from every town that they were, you
Oh,
know.
I was gonna watch this because I saw it somewhere, and then I just
I
never
don't know. It
did.
had been on Netflix or Prime, but I've watched it before. It's a good movie. I
Really?
like it. Um, and they kind of go into it, and they got some older guys, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, you wouldn't the way it kind of lays out, you would think they just go in there and kind of save stuff and whatnot, but they actually get into not battles, but
Was it actually like?
gunfights.
Was it based on real stuff, or was it just like a
Yeah,
movie?
yep,
Okay, that's pretty
yep,
cool.
yeah. They saved a ton of art.
The film is based
One
on
of them
true story
being
of an
the
American.
Madonna, but uh, it I kind of interested and almost want to look it up more and see kind of what like more history behind that. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, there was a declaration by Hitler right towards the end, and that's when they started kind of going um, and looking for this art because they kind of realized, hey, he's doing something here. He's taking over. He's taking
Yeah,
stuff, and then he started
destroying
having
things.
people. He was tasking groups to go and steal this stuff. Um, so there was a declaration, and I don't know if it was necessarily because he knew they were trying to find it, or because he knew his empire was coming to an end. But it said
Yeah,
if he dies or the empire crashes, to destroy all the stuff they have.
yeah, yeah.
All the money, all the art, all the everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there was, well, based on the movie, there's one they burnt like all sorts like pieces that you can never, well, obviously never replace, but um, it's really interesting. I would like to get into that and see like what it was actually lost and
Yeah,
uh,
there's plenty of moments in history where stuff like that has happened.
mhm,
Yeah, I heard about that was definitely a big thing is when I don't know what reason. Obviously, we're not Hitler, so we don't know, but I assume it was just to make a point or destroy precious documents or be like, this is coming down with me. But he was destroying a lot of stuff towards the end of it. Not even art,
mhm.
but like monuments and um,
Yeah.
his own historical like documents and military documents and machines and
So
weaponry
in
and
the
vehicles. He was
in the
destroying a lot.
movie, they were talking about how he wanted to wipe out the memory, like he wiped out a bunch of Jews.
Hmm.
He also wanted to wipe out the memory of them that
Oh,
they even
okay.
existed.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense. That makes sense why he would do that.
so, but they also in that movie he was going to build this like massive museum for all the other stuff. But yeah, pretty
Crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, I like movies like that where they're like they're documentaries, but they're not documentaries. I don't know what you'd call that. Like they're a movie, but they're based on the real stuff and they're really close to it. Like there was another one, oh, I cannot remember the name of it, but it's a
Does
very
that
good
have Bill
movie.
Murray in it?
Yeah, it does.
I think it has
It
Bill Murray.
has Bill Murray.
God, I hate that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I think that's probably one of the reasons I didn't watch it because I saw Bill Murray in it, and I was like, I don't know how well that'll be in a World War II movie. But
Best Bill Murray movie, which it was, it's not even his movie.
Zombieland,
Um, yes.
where he gets
Yep.
shot.
Yep. Where he gets shot,
Oh yeah,
pretending he's a zombie.
yeah. It's hilarious. I love that movie. Um. Anyway, I can't remember the name of the movie to save my life, but there's this movie that came out. I think it was around 2016. I want to say, but it's about the. I think it was the. I don't want to sound wrong. I think it was the Israelis that wanted to go prosecute one of the Nazis that had actually escaped
Oh.
the whole thing, and he went down to live
Mm-hmm.
in a different like South American country or something like that, and they went down and captured him so that they could prosecute him in like a court of law, and it was a very good movie based on a real thing that
Yeah, I was gonna
actually
say I'm
happened.
pretty. I know. I don't remember, but I remember that story, and maybe I've watched the movie. But yeah, you're right. I think it's really on a true fact, like
Hmm.
true story based on true story.
Yeah, I want to figure it out, but yeah, that was a good movie. I like that there wasn't like I was afraid that they would add in like a lot of action into it because action movie about World War II kind of circling around World War II, but they didn't really put
Mhm.
any action in it. It was more like suspense and drama, and it was very good.
Um,
I think it was Eichmann, Adolf Eichmann. Was that him? I'm not sure if it was him.
there was a movie I watched a while back. Gosh, I can't remember.
Is it
He had to cross
Operation
German
Finale?
lines, and it was up in like, I mean, where like I want to say Alaska, but it wasn't even Alaska. It was somewhere like where just snow all the time.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
can't figure it out.
No,
Oh, it was Operation Finale. Operation Finale.
oh, did you see that
Was the
video I
Israeli?
sent you?
I think so.
The they're opening presents and the kids are opening a present. And he pulls out a book and it's
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he asked for Minecraft.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What is it? My,
Mein Kampf, the
yeah.
Hitler's autobiography or whatever.
That's hilarious. Now he's on the fucking registry for Hitler stuff.
Hitler stuff. Uh, yeah. Anyway, let's
I'm trying to think
bring
of
it back to
another.
movies. Let's bring it back to movies before we
Yeah.
get too off topic.
We're off topic. Okay, so let's kind of touch World War II, which I honestly I think we could just sit here
Talk about
World War II
movies.
forever.
Oh yeah.
Um, a couple of movies I had. Um, one of my all-time favorites is Braveheart.
That's not even World War II. you talked.
No, I know.
Like,
we
oh, I thought you were
we're
like talking
going
about
away
World
from
War
World War
II
II.
movies, and I was like, what? Okay,
No,
yeah.
no,
Anyway,
no. I know. I said
Braveheart.
we could sit at World War II for all day long, and next week and the next month.
Yeah, we could.
But which I would like to go back to that at some point.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's maybe next episode we'll do a World War II episode.
That I like if we can like narrow it down a little bit more because there's
Okay.
still a lot like
Oh,
Fury.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
talk about Fury. But yeah, just like war movies in general.
Yeah, war movies.
Like I said, Braveheart is. Oh, look at my dog just showing up out of nowhere. This is kind of funny. The Great Escape.
The Great Escape.
Yeah,
Well, let me. I'll have to look it up.
yeah, that's World War II.
I've probably seen quite a bit. 1963.
I don't know that.
You're not even that
Yeah.
old.
No, I know, but I love that movie. It was always on cable.
Oh, that's why.
I didn't have cable. It was at my grandma's house.
Oh,
So let's see.
huh. Sounds cool.
When is that?
When did it come out?
No, I'm trying to think of when they always played. So Pearl Harbor was November 7th? No,
December 7th.
December 7th.
Yeah, I think so. December 7th.
So I don't know if it came out then. Like they would always come up.
Like right before.
Those kind of movies. They're like a whole week. They would just play World War II movies.
Yeah.
Tora
Uh-huh.
was another one. That one I love. Absolutely love. That was actual Pearl Harbor. And,
Yeah. They need to do more movies about the Pacific Theater. We always do like all the movies in the European theater and stuff like that, but not in the Pacific Theater. And if they
Like
are,
what?
so you know what I'm talking about, the Pacific Theater, right?
yeah, I think. I'm not that smart, but
it was the Americans fighting the Japanese in World War II.
yeah.
I don't think I've seen a whole lot of movies in the Pacific Theater or about the Pacific Theater that were like really, really good. But Tora.
You mean fighting the Japanese?
Yeah. So Tora, Pearl Harbor. So yeah, there was.
Watch some old John Wayne movies.
I was like, there's now that I'm looking at them, there's a bunch of them, but they're all from that time
There is a
period.
bunch of them.
But I mean, like, Hacksaw Ridge. Oh, I didn't know that was in. I was gonna watch.
Oh,
that,
I was going to ask you about
good.
that. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's pretty good.
It was one of those ones that kind of just slid under the radar. Like, not slid under the radar, but I always was like, oh, I need to watch that, and I never did.
Yeah, I don't think it did as good because it was more religious based, kind of, in a way.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
he refused to carry a rifle.
Yeah, I know the guy, and I knew that was the reason, but I didn't know, like, is the movie trying to push, like, a religious agenda, or is it just...
No, it just tells
eh.
what he's about, kind of,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and then what he did during that battle.
Yeah, I
Which
definitely
that battle,
I read about it.
anyway, I can't remember which one it was, but that one was insane because they had
Okinawa,
that was Okinawa.
apparently.
Oh, because they had to like climb like a cliff to get up
Yeah,
to battle.
yeah. That also happened during D-Day as well.
So yeah, I think that whole thing right there was D-Day, but they were on the other side trying to come
Uh,
up and flank them. No, wait a minute.
no,
Go.
that would not have been correct. I was
Go.
like, I don't know what you're going on there. I was like, they're in two completely different parts of the world. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. That was in Okinawa.
Yes.
See, and I was
Risked
thinking it
his
was.
life without firing a shot to save 75 men in the Battle of Okinawa.
Um, so have you seen? Okay, yeah, you have to watch it.
I will. I will. I
I
saw.
just completely screwed that up.
Oh yeah. Don't worry. You guys can make fun of him in the comments. It'd be funny.
Yeah.
I always do
Yes.
anyway. I think around the same time that movie Dunkirk was coming out, and I watched Dunkirk, but I didn't watch Hacksaw Ridge. Which Dunkirk they did pretty well. I think they could have done better, but they did pretty good.
What's the movie about? It's like a little tiny island that Japan needed to
Midway,
land and refuel. Huh?
Midway,
Midway.
yeah. I think it's
Yeah, Midway.
Operation
That's a good movie
Midway or
too.
something. I didn't watch that either.
Really?
Yeah, apparently I just didn't watch any of the Pacific Theater movies, and I just didn't know
Well,
about
you
them.
were just saying.
Yeah, I know. Apparently I didn't watch them instead of just not having a whole lot.
That's a good movie too.
Hmm
It's a really good movie.
The whole operate, I would like recommend looking into that because like I guarantee you the movie probably didn't do it justice how crazy that event was and the events leading up to it and after and during, and it was wild. I watched the whole video on it.
On.
Midway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um.
Well,
So
and actually, if people don't know, Midway, if Japan would have captured it like they had planned to, it would have really changed.
changed the war for at least the Japanese.
Probably would have changed a whole lot of things, but
Hmm
um, especially Pearl Harbor, because they went in kind of
Was it? It was
tanks half
before.
empty, kind of.
It was before Pearl Harbor.
No, I thought it was they needed that one to
Oh,
like.
6 months after the attack on Japan, or Japan's attack on the Pearl Harbor.
Oh, oh, because they tried to. Well, see, I'm gonna stay out of it then. That was
Maybe
a
we'll
good
do some
movie.
more
That was a
research.
good movie.
We'll do some more research on it, and we'll come back to it. Yeah,
I
there's
really I
just
could
a
have
lot of
swore
these.
because it had to do with them trying to attack the United States.
Yeah, it was definitely like
I'm
a
pretty sure.
pivotal thing. What happened at the Battle of Midway? Aircraft from Japanese carriers attacked and damaged the U.S. base on Midway. Oh, so we had a base on there, and they needed to capture it, and
Hmm.
yeah. But that
Well, the
that would be
island was they needed it to refuel their stuff so they can move on to the
cool.
states
Oh,
because there's such a huge gap.
I believe it.
That's why I thought it was part of Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, it was relatively close, but not a part of it.
So maybe they tried to do it again. I don't remember. Maybe I need to do more research.
Yeah, let's.
I thought I knew a lot about it, but I don't know that
I
much.
say let's do some research on some World War II events, and we'll do an episode or two on it, and I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That way,
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you can
It's
go
super cool.
deep into that too.
Oh, dude, there's a YouTuber I watch that he's planning on doing like an 8 hour long video on events of World War II that most people either don't cover or don't know about, and he's like, it's literally gonna be 8 hours long, and I was like, that sounds so good, so good.
Who's that?
His name is Wendigoon. He's he doesn't his content doesn't usually focus around like war or anything like that. It's a lot of weird and obscure kind of things.
That'd be kind of cool though. Have an
Yeah,
outside kind of view.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty. He's pretty cool.
Uh, Band of Brothers.
Oh, I love Band of Brothers so much. I didn't include that because I thought it was more of a. I mean, it's a show, but each one is like a movie length.
They're
So
like an hour and a half
yeah,
long.
yeah. So I didn't want to call them
And there's
movies, but at the
level.
same time, they are movies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are so good. I love those movies so much. I think for the time that was like one of the best kind of like World War II movies and series out there.
Yeah.
What is it, like early 2000s?
Well, and even Mama will sit down and watch Band of Brothers.
All 7 hours of it.
Well, I don't know. I think we sat down and watched pretty much all of it.
See, and I
Um,
I think even though I love it so much, I don't know if I've seen like the last one in the series or something like that. Like I haven't seen the very end of it.
well, the last one kind of slows down a lot
Oh, maybe that's why I haven't really finished it.
because they kind of make their way up towards Hitler's. There's less resistance. And,
Oh, so they're not a lot of fighting.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
still pretty cool.
Um. So, I'm gonna quickly like change it because I want to talk about it before we get too far. But there's a movie called 1917, and it's a movie about World War One. But the super cool thing about it is that it was filmed to look like one continuous shot.
Really?
Yeah, so there's like no cuts in between people talking or fighting or anything like that. It's all like basically one long like cut of it, and I think there's one moment where it's technically a cut because he like blacks out and he wakes up. But other than that, the whole thing is shot through one cut. It's super cool, super good cinematography on their part.
1917?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of like
I'll have to
fighting
look
or
it up.
anything in it. I think because of that reason, but there's some very cool shots. It's like I don't know how long it is. It's definitely over an hour, but just over an hour of like basically one continuous shot is very impressive.
To be able to do that, it's
Oh yeah. I was
a lot
watching
of work.
like a documentary or whatever on it, and he's like, yeah, we'd literally have to like shoot one scene for 5 minutes and wait until the next day to shoot it again to get the lighting right.
Done right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's like, some days like it'd be stormy and he just couldn't film, and it just
Yep.
and I was like, that's so crazy, man, so crazy.
That's yeah. That's what, when I was when on the for the fire. That's there. We had to film it in 2 days because of the light.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's, because it gets dark. But in this, like, they had like a 30-minute window, and the day was done after that. Like, it wasn't like
That's yeah.
six
Oh yeah.
hours. It was like,
Yeah.
because they did cut it, but they had to make it look like it wasn't cut. So they had to get the exact same light as the shot before. Otherwise, it wouldn't look correct.
Yeah. You had clouds and stuff.
Yeah, like one
Or
singular
one
cloud
stupid
just ruins the
cloud.
whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to bring that up before we go too deep into Band of Brothers because I just thought it was really really cool and I commend them for it. Oh yeah, it's 2 hours long.
1917.
Yep,
I'll have to look
1917.
that up.
Anyway, okay, back to Band of Brothers. um,
Uh, yeah.
I think there's
Well,
like I said, I do think there's 7 of them. I'm gonna look it up. I think there's 7 episodes of it.
I think there's 10.
You think there's 10? Is there really?
Pretty sure. 9 or 10. 7,
Oh yeah,
eight,
you're
eight,
right.
9 or
There's
10.
10. There's 10. Oh yeah, I've never. I don't think I've ever seen the end of it. Then somehow. Let's see, Bastogne. I've seen Bastogne, so that's episode 6.
That's a good one.
Breaking Point.
That's
It's still in the snow. Yeah, so I think I saw episode 7, and that was it.
Really?
Yeah, which is crazy because like I said, I love that.
Boo.
I love that series, man. I love it so much, but somehow I
Not
haven't
that
finished
much.
it.
You didn't watch the
I
whole
know,
thing.
huh? I've seen it like 3 times too, all the way up to like probably 7 every time.
That's funny. So, I think it's the first one.
Hmm.
It's a very specific scene. Um, I won't go into it, but trying to think if there's another one. Anyway, Tom Hardy's in it.
Is he really?
Uh, yeah, he's like 100, maybe 20 pounds. I don't even think he's 120 pounds. He's
Really?
tall and skinny. Who else is in it?
Just
There's
Tom.
like
Really?
throughout them. I think there's a couple people in there that like.
Oh,
Oh,
he was. I don't remember Tom Hardy. I remember all these other guys, but not Tom Hardy for
it's
some reason.
one scene, and I'm not gonna say about it. It's
Oh,
um, but yeah, that I remember. I think he comes up in another area somewhere. I'm like, hey, that's Tom Hardy.
hey, look, Tom Hardy.
Um, trying to think, there's somebody else, super young
Jimmy
that pops up.
Fallon.
Huh?
Jimmy Fallon is in it.
Oh yeah, maybe that's who it is. Jimmy Fallon, the guy from Friends is in it.
I'm trying to find David Schwimmer.
He was a little asshole in that movie.
Yeah, he was. And then they kick him out because he's like not ready for war. So they're like, "Just get out of here. Someone else is gonna take over." Then they have Michael Kudlitz, which people would know him as Abraham from The Walking Dead. So he's pretty popular, or at least he was. But it's cool to see him like super young in that movie.
Yeah, everybody that's in it's like super young.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it came out in 2001, so
Did it really?
yeah, 20 years ago, 21 years ago.
Oh man, I don't think I watched it until it was I had to been in my late 20s
Mm-hmm.
until the first time I watched it.
That's funny.
There's a lot of good scenes. There's that one scene which is kind of crazy. I can't remember which episode. I feel like Bastogne, but
Yeah,
because I've watched Bastogne a bunch of times for some weird reason. I don't know why.
you just like it.
But anyway, no, but um, they capture a bunch of Germans, and um, he's a redhead. Trying to think of what movies he's in.
Oh, I think it was the guy I was just talking about, the guy from Walking Dead, and he gets separated or whatever. Is it the same guy? That's not it. That's not the Bastogne episode. So I'm thinking of a different
Well,
episode.
anyway, they're walking into this town,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a bunch of Germans they captured, and the first time they met the sergeant, I can't remember what his name was. Maybe that's why I'm thinking Bastogne, because he was. Well, anyway, uh, the redhead dude's like talking shit to the Germans, and one of them said something back in English.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, what? And um, he comes back to him and he starts talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm from uh, Eugene, Oregon."
Yeah. Oh, I think that's earlier than the Bastogne episode.
Is it?
Yeah.
Which that right there is crazy because Eugene's not very far from us.
Nope.
And he's like, "What? Really?" He's like, "Yeah, once the Fuhrer called us back."
And he got to
Which
defend
is
the
crazy. They had to go
fatherland.
back. Like,
Well, I don't think he said he had to. I think he said he wanted to go and fight for his country.
which I think a lot. Well, yeah, that's a whole other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like they were chatting, and then he had to leave the redhead, and like he gets down the road, and that sergeant
He guns him down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with his Tommy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's
God, I want one so bad.
so there in oh god, Saving Private Ryan. There's a scene similar to that. It's not the exact same by any means, but it's still like a hit in the gut.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Um, right after they
When
capture
it,
the beaches, they come up and these two Germans are like, "Oh no, don't kill us," blah blah blah, but they're speaking a different language, and of course the Americans don't speak this language, so they just think it's German. But basically, they're like, "Hey, we're Czech, don't kill us. We're not really, we don't follow with Hitler. We're just here. We have to be here," and then they kill him.
is that in the dug in the trench?
It's like right after they capture the beaches and they go up and they're like sorting through everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I said, you don't speak Czech, so you don't know it's Czech, but they're basically saying like, "Hey, we're not German, don't kill
Oh,
us."
no.
And they
I
kill him.
always thought they were German.
Exactly. See?
I didn't know
Exactly.
that. I did not know that.
Yeah, see, and there's just
Now
another
I know
instance of
exactly
something
what
like
scene
that
you're
happening.
talking about because
Mhm.
they're like coming up out of the
Out of the
like
little
they have
bunker.
kneeled down. Yeah,
Yeah. So there you go. You guys learned
that's
something.
another that's another good movie. Holy cow, that's a good movie.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we're on an hour, so I don't know if you want to keep talking or if you're good there.
Well, I think we could talk all day long about World War II because we tried to get away from it and we went
And we
right
came
back
back.
to it.
I think we just watch a lot of World War II movies. So a lot of our favorite movies are just happen to circle around
Well,
World War II.
and we didn't even talk about the one we liked the most.
Um,
So
yeah, I think
we
I
have to circle back around.
just yeah, we didn't even
Fury?
we literally didn't even talk about Fury.
No,
not,
we didn't.
not once. We just said, "Hey, we like Fury."
Yep.
it's,
So
it's
yeah, we have
literally
to
one of
come
my
back
favorite.
around.
Oh yeah. Oh
We
yeah.
have to hit. I seriously, I think we talked about extraction a little bit and
Yep.
and tried to get away from World War II, and we went right back to it. But that's all right. I love it.
It's
I
gonna
love.
keep happening.
Uh, I don't know how much World War II you've watched of John Wayne. Well, I don't know how many
Probably
actually
like
there is.
none, because I don't like.
Oh no, there is. I think it's in Tora Tora, and
Oh, I mean, like I haven't watched any.
oh.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
ton of them.
well, it's black and white.
Hmm.
Um,
And I've never liked older movies. I think they're slow and boring, honestly. So,
well, you're slow and boring
yep,
stuff.
that's just me. It's that young and Gen Z in me. I don't like old movies.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. Green Beret.
Hmm.
Um, there's another one where they capture a bridge, but or they have to defend a
Oh,
bridge.
I've seen that one. I have.
That one's pretty good.
Yeah, it is good. I'll give it to you. I mean, I might have to give them a shot because they are war movies. It's just that every time I go back and watch older movies, I'm like, oh man, this is not.
Yeah, you can't
You
go
know,
into it thinking like,
it's gonna be like high quality cinema, but
yeah.
it's what they had at the time, and I just yeah.
But I was like John Wayne. That's what I grew up on. Like cowboy movies and
Hmm.
action movies were always John Wayne and uh, God, I can't think of anybody else. But John Wayne was always the one that I loved the most. So
Hmm.
he did cowboy movies and war movies and cowboy movies and war movies.
That's basically his entire record, his track record is just cowboy, basically.
But yeah, um, yeah. Some like if you ever get bored
The chance to watch them
and want to watch it for 15 minutes, but
for 15
yeah, John
minutes.
Wayne movies as far as World War II is pretty cool. I like his movies, but
Yeah.
yeah, we went right back to World War II, and
Yep. It's
maybe
gonna
we'll
keep
come back
happening.
and just do. Yeah, it is. It is absolutely. We're gonna keep going back to that because I love it, and like you said, we need to do some more research on it, and I'd like to find some more facts. I used to love it enough to read when I went to the library,
Mm.
back when they had a library. Um, well, I-
This guy
that's what I
acts
used
like
to do. Look
he
up.
likes to act like he's older than he really is.
I am old.
No, you sound like you're like, oh, back in
I'm
my
older than
day,
you.
and you're like, well, duh, you're older than me, but you make it sound like you're like 60, and you're not even close to 60. That's how you make it sound. Back when they
I'm only
actually
20
had
years away.
libraries. Yeah, okay. Don't let him trick you guys.
Yeah.
He's not that old. He's still pretty young.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know. 40, like,
Thanks for
in the
ruining that.
grand scheme of things, 40, that's not even old at all.
I'm
Literally.
halfway there.
Halfway, yeah, I'll give you that. Halfway.
Yep.
But,
Halfway there.
yeah. Back when you would go to the library, you'd look at World War II books or what?
When's the last time you went to the library, Jackass?
Not too long ago. A couple months ago. Like 2 months
Really?
ago? Or not even a month ago, probably. I can't read very much. I got this short attention span, so I have to listen to everything rather than read it. So I've gone to podcasts, and I'll probably get into audiobooks because I want to start reading, but I got such a short attention span. I read like a page and I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. I think social media changed that for everybody.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it did.
But, all right.
So,
Well,
you got anything else?
nope.
Alrighty then. I say that's good. I think we'll try and talk about movies again in the future. I think there's probably like
Oh,
we
yeah,
said, we didn't
there's
even
so
talk
many
about our
movies.
favorite movie, so
No,
we can
not
talk
really.
about movies.
There's a couple movies I was thinking of, like just random old movies. They're not like super high quality, but
Hmm.
they're cool movies.
Yeah, and I
Um,
got more that I've seen. Like I like horror a lot, but I didn't talk about any horror because I don't watch a whole bunch of them, even though I love them.
Blair Witch Project.
Eh, it's a cool concept, but
No,
it's all right.
I watched that when I was a kid in the theater. I don't think that was probably the other one wasn't allowed to go to, and I went. So I was being a rebel.
Well, I saw like the remake of it, like the more recent version of
It
the
was
Blair Witch
never
Project.
that good.
Yeah, I like the idea of it, but people suck at making found footage movies. So
Anyway, we'll
anyway,
touch on movies again.
yeah,
Maybe we'll make a. Well, like I said, we have to go back to World War II.
hmm
Definitely some other.
genres.
I mean, if we do just war movies, we can go all the way to current. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and then there's other topics on other movies, comedy, and
horror
we'll
and
definitely have to come
all.
back to it.
I
Maybe next
definitely,
week.
yeah, I definitely. We kind of just talked about movies, but I definitely have quite a bit of knowledge on them because I did, like I was saying earlier, I got sucked into them, so I learned quite a bit out of like cinematography and storytelling and how to make a good movie and how to make a bad movie, and I just didn't share any of that. So we can do that at some
No.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
let's do it.
Alrighty. All right, then we are call it there. So make sure you guys follow, subscribe, like, press all the
Push
buttons,
all the buttons.
and yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Next week. Have a good one.
Adios.